Imagine this. You're standing inside a bright showroom, or maybe just scrolling late at night, looking at a brand new car. It looks perfect. Clean lines, untouched interior, that quiet promise of a fresh start every time you sit behind the wheel. The price is right there, clear and simple. You start doing the math in your head. EMI, down payment, maybe a rough idea of fuel. It feels manageable. It feels like a step forward, almost like a reward for your progress. And in that moment, the decision forms around one number, the price you see. But what you don't see, what no brochure really shows you, is how that number quietly multiplies once ownership begins. Because buying the car is not the full decision, it's just the entry point into a system of costs that slowly attach themselves to your life. At first, everything feels fine. The first few weeks are exciting. Driving feels different. You notice small details, enjoy the comfort, maybe even feel a subtle sense of pride. And this is where something important happens psychologically. The purchase becomes justified, not logically, but emotionally. You tell yourself it was worth it. And in many ways it is. But while you're enjoying the experience, the second layer of cost begins forming quietly in the background. Insurance, maintenance schedules, servicing, small upgrades, unexpected fixes. None of them feel overwhelming individually, but together they begin to reshape your monthly reality in a way that wasn't fully visible at the moment of purchase. Then comes the shift you don't notice immediately. The car starts influencing other parts of your life. Where you go, how often you drive, even how you think about distance and time. You drive more because you can. You spend more on fuel because it feels normal now. Parking, tolls, small recurring expenses that didn't exist before begin to feel like part of everyday life. And slowly, your normal expands to include them, not as luxuries, but as expectations. And this is where the deeper cost begins to reveal itself, not just in money, but in structure. Because owning a car doesn't just add expenses, it adds commitments. It requires consistency, regular payments, regular upkeep, a certain level of income stability just to maintain the experience you signed up for. And once that structure is in place, it doesn't adjust easily. It expects you to keep up, month after month, without interruption. At some point, you may notice something subtle. Even if your income grows, your sense of financial space doesn't expand in the same way, because the car has already claimed a portion of your future earnings. And it's not just the EMI, it's everything around it, the ecosystem of costs that formed after the purchase. And this is why the idea of hidden costs is not just about extra money, it's about how one decision quietly reshapes your entire financial landscape. Around this point, it's worth pausing for a moment. If you're watching this and starting to rethink what ownership really means beyond the price tag, you're on Andrew Finance, where we break down the deeper psychology behind money, lifestyle, and financial decisions. If this perspective is helping you see things differently, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who's thinking about buying a new car, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Because once you zoom out further, buying a car becomes more than a transaction. It becomes a commitment to a version of your future. Every payment, every expense, every decision connected to that car is part of a timeline you agreed to the moment you bought it. And most people don't consciously evaluate that timeline. They focus on whether they can afford the car today, not whether they can comfortably sustain it over time.
And this is where human behavior plays a powerful role, because we are naturally drawn to the visible cost, the number on the brochure. It feels concrete, final, but the ongoing costs are scattered across time, making them harder to fully feel in the moment. And because of that, they are consistently underestimated. Not out of ignorance, but because the brain prioritizes immediate clarity over long-term accumulation. The irony is that the more affordable something appears up front, the easier it is to overlook what follows. Lower EMIs make the decision feel lighter. Attractive financing options make the commitment feel manageable. But those same factors often extend the timeline, stretching the cost across years in a way that quietly increases the total weight of ownership. And because the payments are smaller, they feel easier to accept, even as they last longer than expected. Over time, this creates a subtle shift in behavior. Your financial decisions start revolving around maintaining what you already own. You become slightly more cautious, slightly more structured, not because you want to be, but because your commitments require it. And this is where the true cost reveals itself, not in the money you spend, but in the flexibility you lose. And that leads to the deeper realization. The real cost of a new car is not the price you pay at the beginning. It's the long-term impact it has on your financial freedom, the space it occupies in your income, the consistency it demands from your life. Because every fixed expense is not just a cost, it's a claim on your future time and effort. And here's the final perspective shift. Buying a car is not just about whether you can afford it, it's about whether you can carry it, not physically, but financially and mentally over time. Because ownership is not a moment, it's a process, and the more accurately you see that process, the more intentional your decisions become. In a world where everything is designed to make buying feel easy, the real advantage comes from understanding what happens after, from recognizing that the brochure shows you the beginning of the story, not the full version of it. And once you see that clearly, you stop asking, "Can I buy this?" and start asking, "What does this turn my life into over time?"
If this video opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe, because what you learn today can save your future tomorrow.